Welcome back, my friends. Skirt.
Hi there everyone, just some ordinary dude here, and welcome to another edition of Discussions with the Dude. I'm joined today by Dbz619. How are you?
I'm doing very good. How are you?
I'm okay. And today we're going to discuss something. Well, I've done one about Luna-Loud before, so some of you regularly follow my podcast series will know that I previously did a podcast about Luna-Loud. I did a general overview of her character and some of the episodes she's been in, just sort of like some of the stuff her character's been through, some of the development that she's had. Today we're going to focus on something a little bit more specific. Now, the general topic here is Luna-Loud. Obviously, she's a fan favourite. She always has been. I think everyone would agree on that. But it's a fair criticism to make that she doesn't really have a lot of interests or niches outside of her core passion for rock music. I mean, we did sort of briefly see Laser Tag in Racing Hearts, and we did see a bit of singing and dancing, but then again that's all kind of related to the same thing of rock music in general. But what other interests does she actually have? And obviously a few of us have had certain ideas, and possibly the first person to do something different with Luna in this way. And guys, you could correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but Dbz619 here has made quite a popular sort of alternate universe for the Loud House, for Luna-Loud, and it's called Luna-Loud the Knockout Rocker. And as some of you may be able to guess, this entails Luna taking a young adult version of Luna. I think she's, 24 in your story?
Yep.
And she basically ends up getting a career in professional boxing. And she ends up meeting a coach and ends up having like a sort of rival, becomes a threat. Well, yeah. And she ends up meeting like lots of these other competitors and stuff. And it's quite a fun sort of story. We actually, I sort of got introduced to your stuff through a mutual friend of ours, Animated Brawls 20. You know, he does a lot of stuff based on your AU, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he's a very big fan of my stuff.
Yeah, and recently I decided I would look a little bit more into DBZ stuff. I mean, I did sort of know about it anyway because I wrote some stories for AB20 about the Knockout Rocker before, but now I'm including Luna-Loud and another character, an OC of DBZ's here, who are appearing in my big project, the Loud House Multiverse War, which some of you will know about. It includes a lot of different AUs, like the Hammer Down AU from Rihisu, the Lady Ace AU from Raisha. I did a podcast with both of them recently. If you guys want to go and listen to that, if you haven't already. Obviously, there's also the Amazing Peanuts, Alejindio, the stuff they've done together, and Dbz619's Alternate Universe, the Knockout Rocker AU, is a little bit more of a niche thing. I suppose what we'll start with here, we'll elaborate on your AU, just how it came to be, what gave you the idea. You could talk about some of the characters that you've created for it, and just maybe give us a few hints and ideas as to where you might take the story in the future. So if you'd like to start off by sort of saying, how did you come up with the idea first and foremost of making the Knockout Rocker?
Okay, so I guess the best place to start would be in the beginning, where I first discovered fan fiction, which was all the way back in 2011, where I was still a young kid, 12, 13 years of age, right?
Yeah.
And I got really invested in it, and funnily enough, at the time, I didn't even know what fan fiction was at the time. So to discover it, I was like, oh wow, this is cool. And there are a lot of talented writers out there who basically make you invested in their stories.
Yeah.
And so fast forward a few years, the Loud House came along, and I think the summer of 2016,
Yeah.
and I got hooked on the show due to its animation style, its comedy, and the life lessons that the main characters, as well as the supporting characters, would eventually learn at the tail end of the episodes.
Yeah, like the Aesops, that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so carry on.
Right. So, and one of my characters who became a favorite of mine, just so happens to be the titular character of this podcast episode, which is Luna.
Yeah.
And what drew me to her was her personality, her design, her passion for rock music, which I am personally a fan of.
Yeah.
And
fair enough.
and yeah, and I just so happened to be a big fan of boxing ever since I was like 3 or 4 years old.
All right.
And I got this random thought in my head. I was like, you know what? Why don't I make my own story? Take Luna as a pro boxer.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's basically as simple and cut and dry as it is. Like, it became basically not really a passion project, but more of a hobby. Something to get the creative juices flowing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's basically like a hobby, you like doing it just for fun, which is fair enough. I should probably do that a bit more often, but there you go. I take things way too seriously.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how Knockout Rocker came to be, and I guess what we should continue on with is what my story is basically about, how some of my characters came to be.
Yeah.
Spoilers for quick spoiler warning, really quick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously. I mean, if you guys are listening to this podcast, then yeah, it should go without saying, really, that there will be some spoilers for Luna Loud the Knockout Rocker included in this. Obviously, if we're going to talk about it for however long this lasts, the best part of an hour, yes, we are going to spoil some shit. That's just how it works, Yeah.
Right. Okay, so basically, it's common knowledge that the backbone to any and all story is the character and the plot.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, storyline and characters are always absolutely the most critical part of the writing process. You can have all the great, visuals and stuff in the world. If you don't have a good plot, if you don't have a good, cohesion of the narrative, if you don't have great, enjoyable, entertaining characters, and like interesting, compelling character dynamics and arcs, then your product probably isn't going to be all that particularly great or interesting, and that's just how it is. So you got to have those things. Yeah.
Right. So with that said, before creating Knockout Rocker, I had to really think long and hard about how I'm going to go about this.
Yeah.
Like I had to go into specific details, like what weight class would Luna compete in as a boxer, and what age would she be, and how would she meet these characters? That would be what's the word I'm looking for? Important. For lack of a better term, important to her story.
Yeah.
Going forward. So I thought about names and what their designs would be, and the very first OC who came to mind would be her coach, named Jake MacArthur.
Yep.
He basically opened up the gym in Great Lake City, where Luna is currently residing in.
All right.
One day, while taking her morning walk, Luna stumbled upon the gym, and her curiosity got the better of her, and she decided to check it out. And while doing so, she basically got engrossed in the whole atmosphere of the whole gym. Like, she was surrounded by heavy bags. She got engrossed in what is basically the centerpiece of the gym, which is, of course, the boxing ring.
Absolutely.
And like she was just like, yeah, she was like entranced by the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's where she met Jake.
Yeah.
And you know, Jake, he was basically like, hey, it's nice to meet you. I'm Jake MacArthur. What's your name? And you know, she introduces herself, Luna Loud, and he was all like, are you interested in training? And she was like, oh, no, I'm not. I was just looking around. That's all, you know.
Oh yeah, and then of course, one thing basically leads to another. Now, I'm actually going to confess something here. I've skim read the story. I don't remember it by a line basis, but I remember like the general gist of it. But like basically, if we're going to sort of like summarize, I suppose you could say one thing, like, you know, one thing leads to another. He ends up becoming a trainer, and before you know it, she's entering the professional boxing scene. And I suppose what we could sort of go on to shortly, because we know where the real interest lies here. You've created some very, you know, fun and interesting and very well designed, like characters, like as in like the rival boxers and everything. Like when people think of the Knockout Rocker, I think what they think about is not only Luna herself, obviously, but then you've got of some of like the, you know, other competitors in Luna's division. Most notably Kate Mark, who I'm sure you're going to discuss in a minute. And then you've got some others like Kumi Watanabe, Jackie Rourke, Vanessa Storm, the champion Nicole Pierce, Lane Wolf, who I think has just come into the story, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so obviously, I think they're the ones like people really remember these characters, partly because they're just so like well designed. You know, you've got a very keen eye for how to like design memorable characters, like give them good visual aesthetics. And the
it can't take credit for Nicole and Lane, because those two OCs actually belong to somebody else.
Oh yeah, you said it.
Who've kindly given me permission to include them in my story.
Yeah, and that's very good, isn't it? I mean, there's I think there's 2 or 3 of them from Omega Crow Nexus, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah.
Oh yes, 3. There's Nicole and Lane, like you mentioned, and then there's Brooke Rivers.
Absolutely. So I suppose we'll sort of move on to, well, Kate Mark's obviously like the most popular one, and fairly not
and
too long.
And she's a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah. I mean, not too long to the story. Obviously, Luna makes her big debut, and and Kate's already had like 3 or 4 fights, hasn't she, or something like that?
By then Kate has obtained a record of 3-0 and 3 KOs.
Yeah.
So she's still a bit green when it comes to the whole professional scene, but you know, she's got some experience under her belt compared to Luna.
Well, yeah, she'd be the more experienced one than her. So obviously, we could kind of talk about that part, like obviously how Luna first met Kate in the ring, and then obviously they sort of become friends after the fact, don't they? Like in the next chapter and all that.
Right. They just talk things out, like sitting at a bench at a park, basically getting to know each other, how they both discovered boxing and what they did in their previous years in life. Like Luna, basically, she opened up to Kate, telling her how she actually wanted to be a really famous musician growing up, like how she discovered rock music due to Mick Swagger and all that.
Yeah.
And Kate, and on Kate's end, she was basically your typical tomboy, right? She didn't wear any dainty dresses or anything. She would always stand her ground whenever someone would try to mess with her, right? Like, hey, you mess with me, I'll mess with you right back.
Absolutely, yeah. And you can sort of tell that with the whole visual aesthetic, you know, like the tribal tattoo obviously being something that really makes her stand out, like her design, and the sort of short, shaggy hair, and, you know, that sort of thing, and just sort of like the general clothing and stuff. Like, she comes across as that sort of tough, city streetwise tomboy girl, doesn't she? That sort of thing.
Yeah, and she is a New Yorker, and as far as we know, they make them tough over there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, I suppose that's something like with all your OCs. I suppose you could say they come from tough areas. So obviously you got Kate. I mean, you called her the Brooklyn Brawler, if I'm not mistaken.
Her actual legit boxing nickname is Shotgun.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember now. But yeah, obviously she's from Brooklyn, I suppose. I'm taking it.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is from the borough of Brooklyn.
Yeah, and then you've got then you've got a couple of other OCs as well. Like you've got Kumi Watanabe, who's from Japan, and obviously they're known for like samurais and stuff over there. And obviously you got Jackie from Glasgow, who's they're pretty rough up in Scotland. Same with Kiara Murphy. Irish people are known for scrapping. I should know. I'm from the UK.
It's actually Sierra Murphy.
Oh, all right, Sierra Murphy. Okay, I didn't actually know that. Okay, I thought it was Kiara.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we got a lot of colorful characters who have been introduced and have yet to be introduced in my story.
Yeah. Now, two interesting ones. Like obviously, maybe the two most popular OCs. Partly because of what AB's done with them as well, but apart from Kate Mark, would be Kumi and Jackie. Now, you did mention to me there was something quite interesting about how you came up with those characters, wasn't there?
Yes. The main inspiration between those two characters was my favorite cartoon growing up, and that was Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
And if you look at those two, you could kind of see the comparisons, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like with Jackie Rourke, she's got that brash, loud personality.
Absolutely.
She's cocky as hell, and she'll basically hurl any insult your way if it's warranted.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, not myself included, AB, and probably a few of your other fans also think she's very similar to Lin Lau Jr. from The Parent Show that it's sort of based on. And you can definitely see I know that maybe you didn't intend it, but there's definitely a lot of similarities there, you got to admit.
I mean, I can understand why people would see those comparisons. Like, it is there.
And also, not to mention, not long after you started this idea, didn't the Loud House movie come out and said that all the Louds are part Scottish anyway, which is like, that's just like...
I'm like, wow.
Yeah. So,
I found that very, very hilarious. Like, I created an OC who originated from Scotland, and then we got the Loud House movie where the setting was in Scotland, and I'm like, am I a prophet?
Something like I come up with tons of stuff, and then the show will do something very similar. I can think of plenty of examples. I mean, I did a story about the Louds on a mountain hike trip about a year and a half before Mountain Hard Pass from season 7 came out, for example. Before the season 3 episode Middlemen, I did something years ago called Pushover or Payback, and it's a very similar story about a character taking Lincoln and trying to make him tougher, that sort of thing, and stand up for himself. So it was very different. It was done very differently, don't get me wrong, but this sort of thing happened like with what I do all the time, like with story ideas. I swear, I think they do follow me. Like, I have interacted with staff members on Instagram. They are on here, by the way.
Oh, cool.
So it's possible they do follow me. It is possible.
Right. Anyways, that's enough about Jackie. Now on to Kumi.
Yeah.
She's the more, as you can tell, she's got the more reserved personality. She's quiet. She's humble. She is respectful towards everybody, including her opponents, because in the Japanese boxing scene, sportsmanship is held to the highest regard, and Kumi is no exception.
Yeah. They're very big on honor over there, from what I've heard. My dad's told me.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, and as you could probably guess, guys, Kumi is the Samurai Jack to Jackie's Scotsman.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, so I suppose they'll probably fight at some point, and then probably become friends after, which would be quite funny. Yeah, and you've also thinking about it. Actually, I mean, Jackie Rourke is from the UK. She used to be in the army. She's very aggressive and into fighting. she's kind of like a spitting image of my dad, thinking about it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, like my dad used to be in the army. He's all about fighting. He's like all about being like the toughest guy ever, or he was. He's quite old and past it and injured now, but he was. He was a soldier sort of guy. He did a lot of like street fighting and stuff as well. And obviously, as you can tell, I'm from the UK, so was he.
Right.
So thinking about it, she is kind of like my dad a little bit, but there you go. Yeah, I mean, well, I suppose I've sort of become a fan of hers because I've ended up writing for her as a favour, you know, and
right.
obviously I helped AB write Kate Mark versus Jackie Rourke last year. For those of you who didn't already know that,
which was a very entertaining story, by the way.
I do believe you said maybe AB and I made her a little too cocky. I guess I was just sort of
Well, she was a little too mean spirited, is what I was going for.
Making her sort of like the heel. I know that's a pro wrestling term, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people sort of feel like she's maybe Luna's like fiercest, like she has the biggest rivalry maybe with Luna. I don't know. It just feels that way.
Well, she is certainly a significant one. I will tell you that.
Yeah, but yeah, obviously you got Kate, Kumi, Jackie, and then you've got a couple of others. The ones I think the other ones that stick out would be the likes of obviously Nicole Pierce is the champion. I know she's not your OC, but still she's part of the AU.
Yes.
And then you've got who kind of she does look a bit like Luna thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like she's got like the eyeshadow on and a little bit of jewelry on. You know what I mean? She gives a bit of a similar vibe. Is that intentional? Like she may be like a future version of what Luna could be, maybe.
Are you talking about Nicole or
Nicole Pierce? Yeah.
Oh. Well, when it comes to Nicole Pierce, like I said, she's an OC who belongs to Omega Crow Nexus, who is also an author on Wattpad.
Yeah, I'm assuming, did he made her with the intention in mind that she would be part of your AU? Is that right? Or
no. He's already written some. He's already written some stories surrounding the Loud House and created his own OCs in his own unique universes.
Before she was in your thing, then. Huh?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Omega Crow was actually one of the biggest inspirations for me to start fan fiction writing.
Okay. Did he write any Loud House boxing fics back in the day then, before you did, or?
No, nothing boxing. He always did write some fantastical stories, like crossovers, basically.
Oh, right, crossover. Yeah.
Well, some original and some crossovers. Like he would cross over Loud House with Dragon Ball Z.
You would have become you would have followed that because you're a Dragon Ball fan, obviously, based on.
Oh yes, a big Dragon Ball fan.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, and he's also done crossovers with some superheroes like Spider-Man, Hulk, Wolverine.
Marvel fan, basically.
Yeah, Marvel fan and anime fan.
Yeah,
and DC. I should include.
They're all part of the same sort of like action fantastical genre, aren't they? Really, like a lot of people always like to say who win the fight between Goku and Superman, and obviously that depends on the version of Superman because there's so many fucking different versions of him out there.
Yes, because there are literally thousands of comics around the guy. Yeah,
the most powerful comic versions of Superman, he probably wipes the floor with Goku. But then again, if you take a mainstream Superman who's dialed down, Goku wipes the floor with him. So that's pretty straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big back and forth
then again,
sort of thing.
So it depends on when Goku is like. Obviously, if you take Goku from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, he's obviously a lot less powerful than say what he is now in the Super manga. I do follow it to an extent. I'm a casual on it. I've never watched every episode. Like, if I were to watch Dragon Ball Z in its entirety, I'd probably go with Kai, purely because I think it tones down a lot of the filler, doesn't it, and just like gets to the point.
Oh yeah, it does, and and it copies some of the dialogue from the manga word for word.
Now, interestingly, I think part of the reason they did a lot of the filler, particularly like in the end of the Namek saga, if I'm not mistaken,
Right.
we're going on a tangent now, but don't worry, we always go on tangents.
Yeah.
It was literally like the anime was like only a couple of weeks ahead of the manga, if I'm not mistaken. So they had to pad out like the Goku Frieza battle, for example, like with stuff from the Ginyus and all that lot, to allow the anime to stay ahead. Or was it the manga that was first? I forgot now. Is it the manga?
Well, actually, the manga came out first, and then the anime came out second. That's how.
So the anime did it to stay behind the manga. That, of course, that makes more sense. Isn't it Super? I'm sure one of them. They actually do the anime. Super did the anime first, didn't it?
Well, Super was ahead of the.
Yeah.
Super was ahead of the manga, basically.
Yeah, and they did it a bit differently. Like, for example, in the Tournament of Power arc, you know, they did a very different like thing. Like in the manga, I think all the gods fought each other. In the anime, it was just like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, just 2 or 3.
Yeah, which is weird. It's like,
and in
we could talk.
Yeah, and in the manga, I'm sorry. In the manga, it was actually Gohan who faced off against Kefla, not Goku.
Yeah, so they changed quite a few things up. It's like it's hard because like there's so many different versions of Dragon Ball, every part of Dragon Ball, and it's like which one's canon? I have no fucking idea. As a casual, I have no fucking clue how the story work. We'll have to talk about Dragon Ball someday, and you'll have to educate me on this because I'm trying to make sense of it. And it's like then again, Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I will do my best.
Yeah, we'll have to do one about that sometime. But I suppose we'll go back to the original thing. So we were talking about your characters for Knockout Rocker. You spoke about Kate, Jackie, and Kumi, and we were briefly.
Well, we were talking about Nicole.
Yeah, about Nicole. Yeah.
And you were asking about how Nicole's character is like. Like, is she like something who Luna could have been? And I was telling you how. Omega Girl's designed
from something else, that Omega made, and then you sort of she got it's almost like adopted into the story, if you like.
She I guess you could say that Nicole is basically someone who, in another universe, Luna could be friends with Nicole in a way because she's actually a big rock enthusiast.
Okay, so she is basically like Luna, but like she's like a veteran version of Luna. Like she's been she's obviously doing it a lot longer. She's the champion. She's like what Luna could be maybe in like 6-7 years down the line. She keeps getting better and like winning stuff. I suppose you could say she is a visual representation. Of the end game for Luna's career. Like she wants to be where Nicole is essentially.
Right.
Yeah. And then obviously you've got we could go on about all your OCs, like obviously we've got Vanessa Storm, Stephanie Blizzard, Angela Cruz. I have looked them up a lot lately, and they again, like I said, you and like the artists you work with have a very keen eye for character design. But yeah, we could talk about them all forever, but obviously I believe you said you've not got the ideas for all of them yet. They're not that fleshed out.
Yeah, not all of them are fleshed out yet, no.
No. But obviously, I think you can sort of get from the visual aesthetic alone what some of them might be a bit like. So obviously, like, I'll probably put a link to his gallery in the description or the comments of this video so you guys... Because for those who aren't already aware of this, you can go and look at, the story and you can also look at, like, some of his characters. Because he does have some very, interesting characters. So I suppose before we move on, we can talk about maybe, do you have like some sort of like ideas or plans like for the future of the story you'd like to share with us while we're here?
Well, of course this is a story, so I'm planning to add a couple more elements in there, such as drama and a little romance, and I actually created an OC for that romance side plot thing, and his name is Logan MacArthur, who is actually the grandson of Jake MacArthur, who trains in the same gym as Luna.
All right, I've not even. Have you not actually drawn like anything of. Like, it's interesting. You've not really like done any like fan art of like say Jake or this like Logan character. Not that I've seen anyway.
No, I haven't. I haven't done art based on those guys yet. No.
No, it's probably a bit overdue thinking about it, but there you go.
Yeah, I get that. I get that, but
I suppose
one day sooner or later.
Like, the rivals are just like more appealing. Like the tough female badass characters are just more fun to do, aren't they? I should know.
Yeah, I mean, this is
who would probably fit perfectly in your story. Actually, called Bab's Bestie, and she's like basically just this rival, like buff rival to Lynn Jr. that I've written in a lot of stories.
Right.
An adult version of her would like fit perfectly in the Knockout Rocker, if I'm perfectly honest.
Based on what I've seen, I would agree.
Yeah. I mean, she's pretty much exactly. Although she would be very similar to Jackie Rourke, thinking about it. Babs is basically like my version of that, if you like. She's a lot like Lynn Jr. She's basically a rival to her. Very tough, loud, tomboyish, aggressive. She's a big like master like fighter and everything. They're almost the same character, thinking about it. I didn't do that intentionally. Obviously I wrote Babs a few years ago before I even like knew about the Knockout Rocker or anything like that. I actually wrote that as like it was an idea I had for a story called The Quest for Glory. Now you probably remember this episode from season 3 because you're a Luna fan, obviously. Racing Hearts. Now it had something called The Astonishing Quest in there, and sure enough, I actually did like a big story that was like made to be like resemble a movie or something, or an arc of the series. So it was like a bigger story, but it was otherwise like structured and paced and made with a tone of such that could match the show. Because I do that a lot, like with the stories that I call my B canon timeline. They're designed to be like the show, but they focus on more interesting things that people want to see. The first one I did in the B canon was The Quest for Glory, and it was like a big movie where all the characters are competing in another astonishing quest. But this time there's like a big prize of like $500,000 in there. So the competitiveness is like really up through the roof. And I actually did sort of base Bab's Bestie a little bit on Jiren from Dragon Ball Super, in that like she was like the one in the competition who was like nearly unbeatable, except she had a bit more of a like bombastic, hot-headed personality, because Jiren was very like calm, wasn't he? Like Babs
he barely said a word.
Yeah, like Babs was like, if you combine Jiren with Lin with, I guess you could say, Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda, because like there was this backstory for her based on like her like falling out of her old fighter mentor. But again, if you want to read The Quest for Glory, it's a bit long, but we're not that long, but that you might be interested in that. But basically Babs was the main one of the main antagonists of that story. She was the main physical threat they had to deal with.
Right.
And basically basically she was the main antagonist, and first of all she like beats Lin in a big wrestling match just to like show how strong she is, and then like all the characters just have to work together to beat her. I won't spoil how she's eventually thwarted. If you haven't already read it, anyone listening to this, then go read it. But yeah, Babs would an aged up version of Babs would absolutely fit in the Knockout Rocker. That's for a fact.
Right.
But yeah, so obviously, like we've gone through some of your characters. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your story before we sort of move on? Because as much as like the Knockout Rocker is interesting, it's only one of many possibilities. Because with Luna, like we covered at the start, they've never really given her anything outside of rock music, not much. And obviously, like there's an episode from season 7. I don't have you watched this one yet? Called Music to My Fears. And
I did not see that one.
No, but basically, Luna hurts her hands and she's not able to do a performance for the Moon Goats, so she needs to find a temporary replacement. And she actually runs into a character called Nina, who is essentially a combination of Luna, Ronnie Ann, and Lana. She likes animals similar to Lana Loud. She's a skateboarder similar to Ronnie Ann, and she kind of looks a little bit like her. And she's into rock music and plays the guitars just like Luna Loud. And it's kind of interesting because she's only appeared in one episode, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, Lena already has more interests and established hobbies than Luna, who's been a main character for like 7-8 seasons now. How does that work?
Oh man.
Like, that just kind of exposed her a little bit, and I was like, they really do need to do more things. I mean, don't get me wrong, she is already a great character. They've done like lots of really good focal episodes of her in the past. She is very fun, she's very enjoyable, she's just generally very likeable with like her personality and everything, and her visual aesthetic's pretty good as well. But if I'm being honest, from a technical viewpoint, because I've had a history of like being a reviewer of the show, like a critic of episodes and everything, so I do look at the show through a very critical lens sometimes. And as someone who looks at it in that way, even though I like Luna quite a lot, technically I might have to put her in like the bottom half of my sibling rankings, purely because she doesn't really have anything else, and she really should by now. Like, even like the other sisters, like Lola has tons of things outside of like just pageanting and you know, and girly stuff. Lana has tons of different like interests and hobbies and niches. Like, she's into animals, she's into cars, she's into mud and dirt, and she's into trash. She's into video games now with Lincoln in the more recent seasons. You know, you've got... She's into other things besides comedy and pranks. She's into theatre club. She has a romance with Benny. She sometimes has, like, jobs like working at the Burping Burger and the Burnt Bean. You know, she helped Lucy with her poetry in one episode. She has other things. Lynn Jr., you know, even though she's a big sports nut, she's into other things aside from that. She's into hall monitoring, and she's into, like, board games, and she's just into like a whole general load of other stuff as well. Lincoln, obviously, he's meant to be the most well-rounded. He has a ton of different interests. But Luna, it's like she sticks out like a sore thumb, because even though she's a really fun character, it's like, why is there nothing else? Like, in Racing Hearts again, we see that Sam has other things. Like, she has rock climbing and sailing, and she likes health, like juice drinks and stuff like that.
And she has a love for animals.
Yeah, she's into animals. She was okay with like Liam's farming task. But with Luna, it's like, yeah, there's laser tag. Can we see something else? You know?
Yeah, that's just about it.
Would be a very good like idea. Like, maybe, I don't know. Like, obviously, I'm about to elaborate on an idea I've done, but I don't know. Maybe
I felt. Yeah. Speaking of which, I just felt that boxing would be a really fun fit for Luna. I mean that I get that Lynn is like the pretty obvious choice because, you know, she's the athlete, but
yeah,
I figured Luna would broaden her what's that term?
Luna
we'll just go with interest.
Yeah, like Luna does have or has had a bit of a tough side before. Like, she does get into brawls with her siblings. You know, there are like moments where she can get a bit aggressive. So I think the potential is there, although there is one episode that does kind of contradict the whole idea that Luna could be a boxer. The recent season 8 episode where she wants to get a tattoo, and it turns out she has a really low threshold for pain. Not great if you're going to get a career in getting punched in the face for a living.
Oh yeah. That would definitely get you the reputation of a glass jaw.
Yeah, I mean, then again, look at Anthony Joshua. He's known for having a bit of a glass jaw, and he became a 2-time world champion. Same with Frank Bruno. So there you go.
Yeah,
I think Amir Khan.
If you really want to talk about glass jaws, look at Amir Khan.
Yeah,
my.
Amir Khan. Like, he was quite good, but whenever he really got caught, it was like, wow. But then, you know, that's the thing, isn't it? But I suppose then again, with the Loud House, its continuity isn't like completely consistent, and you know, with Luna, like, there was that episode, but then again, there's other episodes where she's brawling with her siblings and she's enduring a lot of pain and she's relatively fine from it. So again, you could just call that like a one-off and just disregard it. I mean, there's plenty of episodes that we would really love to disregard.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I've already done.
Yeah. But you know, but you could still like do it. Like, we saw in that episode that like the Loud siblings were willing to like teach her to be a little tougher and more resilient. Like, there was that scene where Lynn's throwing dodgeballs at her to get her to like be tougher and take pain. So I suppose you could do something like that again. Like maybe, what if I were to take your story, The Knockout Rocker, and like do a canon-like version of it? Like it was just a little short story, like designed to be a 22-minute episode, like something like that, and it does like a canon version of it where 15-year-old Luna like takes up like junior league boxing or something. I don't know, it could happen. Why not?
I mean, that would be cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, who knows, maybe at some point I could do that. I'm already getting experience with writing Luna as a boxer, because now I'm including her and Kate in Multiverse War. You have now seen 2 chapters of that as of the time of writing of recording this podcast, sorry.
Right.
And yeah, chapter 2 is about to go in a couple of days or so, well, in a few days. And obviously that's quite interesting, because obviously Kate Mark, she's quite rough, she's quite abrasive, she can like curse sometimes, she'll swear, she's
right.
Knockout Rock is a bit of a higher age.
And to those,
yeah.
Right, and to those listening, I should add that the story is T-rated, so obviously there's going to be some violence, obviously boxing violence, a little bit of blood, and especially some mild cursing. So heads up on that.
Yeah, absolutely. But in the case of what was I going to say? I've drawn a blank.
My bad.
No, but in the case of Luna, but you could easily like see Luna potentially becoming a boxer in an actual episode of the show. Why not? There's an episode of Lynn becoming a wrestler. Well, she already is sort of a wrestler, but a professional wrestler. And I still think Can't Win Them All will eventually lead to a sequel where she fights Becky, because you cannot tell me that Bella Big Bucks is Becky's like mother or niece. Like, just look at all of a wrestling promoter that appears in the Loud House, of all the character designs they went with. That was not accidental. That was on purpose.
I highly believe that.
But anyway, if you can do Lynn as a professional wrestler and all that, why not do an episode of Luna as a boxer? It's one of many possibilities, and to be perfectly honest, it's overdue giving Luna a new interest or a new niche. And that's one thing you could do. And one thing I'm about to discuss is, you've seen this script, I've shown it you already. I actually wrote... A user gave me some time ago, and I'm not going to name who it is because I'm just not going to do that, some like leaked scripts, episode scripts from season 7 of the show, the episode Bye Bye Birthday and a few others, and I looked through them to get an idea of like how they're structured and everything, and how long a typical 11-minute episode is. And I thought, you know what, I already try to make my stories just like episodes of the show. This makes me get even closer to doing that. So I wrote my own version of like a spec script on this idea that I had. Like this, I did some artwork of Luna Loud teaching Lily to paint, and I thought this would make sense, because with Luna, music is a form of expression. It's a form of art in itself, right? It's a performance.
They're basically on this. They're basically on the same spectrum.
Yeah, so why wouldn't it make sense for actually maybe Luna is a pretty good artist? She just doesn't have time to do it much. Now that's actually like my mother. I didn't realise until last year, and my mother's now 60, that she's a good artist. She never had time to do it. She was always working, obviously when I was a kid, she was taking care of me and my sibling and all that. And basically, I didn't realise until relatively recently my mother is a good painter. She just never had time to do it. And maybe Luna's the same. That could be a thing. So I did some artwork. I commissioned some artwork with the likes of Alejindio and Amanda Leoy, who worked on the Loud House Paper Cuts comics, to do some artwork of Luna teaching Lily how to draw and how to paint. Because there's episodes of the show, like for example, season 5's Seasons Cheatings, which shows implies that Lily might become an artist when she's older. And I thought, you know what? You could do the same thing, like Luna could teach her how to paint. That could be a thing. And I did an entire script on that, like an entire story episode, if you like, on that. And you pretty much said it was exactly like an episode of the show. But yeah, so that's another thing they could do, right? You could have an episode of like Luna being an artist, and she could teach Lily to paint, and then later on in that story, like Luna ends up getting picked up by a big company, and she ends up getting overworked because obviously that collides with like her schooling and her music passion. So that could easily be an episode, right?
Oh yeah,
yes,
most definitely. I could see it being a potential episode.
Yeah, so that's a potential thing you could do with Luna, as is her becoming something like a boxer. And obviously, I don't know, maybe there was somebody else, but you're like the first notable example of someone who really did that, like gave Luna a different niche that people remembered. And maybe that's just something. It feels like they should do something with her. You know what I mean? Other than music.
Yeah, and like I mentioned before, I only did this whole fan fiction thing for fun. I wasn't looking to make this into a big project or anything, but to know that there are people out there who genuinely enjoyed both my characters as well as my story, it's a really good feeling.
Yeah, well, I can tell you quite a lot of people enjoy your story. For what I have read of it, you are a pretty good writer. So, and you've you've written some great characters. So, yeah, fair enough. Fair play to you.
Thank you.
So, is there anything else you'd like to say? I suppose, is there anything else you'd like to say about your story, just like to summarise, or anything else you'd like to give away before we sort of wrap things up?
Well, I would like to add that I will be going back to work on this story very soon, so people look out for that.
That's good, yeah.
And I should include that there's another character who's canon to the show who will also be in the story, that would be Sam Sharp.
Makes sense. I've seen quite a lot of fan art of her and Luna boxing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam and Luna are no longer a couple. Obviously, they're not, because you said you were going to do that romance with your other OC. So, obviously, I'm taking it at some point in this timeline, in this alternate universe, that Luna and Sam broke up, and they're no longer an item. So, I guess maybe Sam is back as a rival that wants revenge, maybe?
Well, not exactly like that, but I will say that there's going to be some tension and drama, hence the drama I said before.
Okay, yeah. Well, that sounds interesting. I'm sure some of your fans will be very keen to see that when it comes out. Obviously in the meantime, again, guys, if you want to see more Knockout Rocker related content, you can either look at AB stuff, or you can look at my Multiverse War, which I am also still working on as we speak. DBZ here does get a chance to see the chapters before they're uploaded, like posted publicly. I always give everyone involved a chance to, check that they're okay with how I've written their characters, because I want them to be accurate. I pride myself on making sure the quality is good. So, yeah. So I suppose to wrap things up, obviously we spoke about your fan fiction, we spoke about the stuff I've done, we've spoken about sort of the fact that there's so much more potential with other niches they could give to Luna. I suppose what we'll end this on is, obviously Luna's your favourite character, you're a big fan of hers. I suppose would you like to summarise your thoughts on Luna and why you like her so much, and what you'd like to see the show do with her maybe in the future?
Well, as you said, she is a favorite of mine in the show.
Yeah.
I generally like her personality. I like the things that she does. I basically like a whole lot of things about her, even though she is, for lack of a better term, a flat character, right?
Well, not flat.
Yeah. Well, just she doesn't have that much substance besides the whole rock music
she
thing.
has a lot of development, and there's a lot of stuff I did in my last podcast where a friend of mine and I analysed the fact that almost a lot of Luna's focal episodes are actually based on the theme of anxiety. Like, she's usually afraid of something and she has to step up to overcome whatever problem it is, if that makes sense. Which is
right,
because we did that podcast not long after we saw Inside Out 2 together, which of course one of the main emotions in that is anxiety. So that was kind
of... right. Yeah, right.
But Luna actually is a character that goes through a lot of anxiety, and she has to overcome a lot of like personal, emotional struggles. So there is a lot of depth and development to Luna's character. It's more, there isn't that much range, there isn't that much variety in like the stuff that she's into, and I think that's really the one like big flaw to another like otherwise really fun and enjoyable character. Because obviously she is very good. She wouldn't be a fan favorite otherwise, but at the same time, you know, it would be nice to see her just do something different, like, you know, do something a bit. It's like with Lucy having all the episodes be about magic and spells and the Morticians Club. All of Luna's episodes these days seem to focus on the Moon Goats, and I like the Moon Goats. They're pretty good characters, but
yeah,
see Luna do something different, you know. And whether it be boxing, whether it be art, maybe she ends up doing doing stuff about laser tag. I don't know. Maybe pottery for all we know. Maybe. I mean, remember there was an episode of the Casagrandes, the Two of Clubs, where Ronnie and Sid are like trying all these things together. And when you think about it, the Two of Clubs is kind of like a rip-off of Racing Hearts. I'm not saying it as a bad thing. I really like both episodes. In fact, the Two of Clubs is one of my favourites from the Casagrandes, probably. But now thinking about it, they are very similar. It's about two friends, or more than friends in Luna and Sam's case, not being able to find a lot of things they have in common. But unlike Ronnie Ann and Sid, who eventually did get things in common, like Sid eventually became a better skateboarder, for example, they never really followed up at the end of Racing Hearts. Like Luna said she and Sam were going to discover things that they liked and were good at together. But that never happened, did it? Like, what, 6-7 seasons later? When's that going to come to pass? That would be a good story to do. Let's have Luna and Sam try some things, or maybe they really find a new interest that they both like and they both take to, and that would be great. Right. That's a good thing.
And I should add, again, a little bit more spoilers in regards to Knockout Rocker. Racing Hearts would be the catalyst to Luna and Sam's drama. I will say that.
Okay. So obviously, because in Racing Hearts, there was a brief moment just before they went to the last like baking challenge where they were thinking, oh, let's just end the quest together as friends, but it's obvious we don't have enough in common. We might not be the best to like go out with each other. That was sort of what the episode was leaning towards in the second half before the more heartwarming resolution. So I guess maybe in your version of events, that didn't happen, and it ended on that whole episode, like that story ended on a more sour note, and they broke up and they sort of drifted apart, and years later they meet each other again as boxers. Is that like maybe the sort of thing you're going for?
Yeah, it may sound simplistic on the surface, but I'm trying to give it more substance as it goes along. Yeah,
I mean, actually, that's kind of interesting because I had a somewhat similar idea that I wrote about not too long ago. Now, do you remember the relatively minor character Taylor, like the school bully?
Yes, I do remember her.
And if you actually think about it, Taylor looks a lot aesthetically like Luna or one of Luna's friends. They wouldn't look out of place in each other's friend groups from a visual standpoint, you know what I mean? And also, Taylor looks a bit old for her age. Like, you know, she's tall, she's got developed breasts, she looks a lot older than, like, Lynn Jr. or anything. And you could argue so did Maggie from season 1, but let's say maybe, I don't know, there's a prejudice like that Taylor and Anderson have towards younger kids, like we saw that in No Bus, No Fuss, right? And what if part of the reason for that, and they specifically targeted Lincoln more than anybody else, even though they did go after other kids, is because maybe, what if Taylor had a non-romantic version of this that you've just described between Sam and Luna? What if Taylor was Luna's old friend from like middle school? And maybe, because if you think about it, Luna probably doesn't know the Moon Goats that long, like before the start of the series, because she only develops like a crush on Sam in season 2. So it's fair to assume that she didn't hang around with Sully, Mazzy and Sam that long before the show started, right? So maybe Luna and Taylor were best friends. And Taylor, along with Anderson, who she became friends with after Luna left, maybe Taylor flunked middle school a couple of times, and she's actually Luna's age, which would make sense because of how she looks visually. And Luna moved up to high school and made new friends, and Taylor got left behind, got bitter about it, stopped being friends with Luna, became friends with Anderson, who also flunked, and Pablo just sort of joined him because he was like the weak, sort of nerdy one who wants to hang around the tough kids so he doesn't get picked on himself. Kind of makes sense. He looks like the geek of the group. Mm-hmm. And actually, Luna and Taylor might have been former friends who drifted apart. And I did write a story where they end up sort of fighting later on because they see each other again as part of my B canon timeline. But I did sort of think that would be an interesting idea. That would make a lot of sense because Taylor has a lot of prejudice towards younger kids, like from the younger grades, and you know, so maybe she hates them because they're moving up and she's not. She's stuck behind in middle school when she should have moved on already. And she's also, maybe she hates Lincoln and his friends because she's taken it out on him because he's the brother of Luna, who she still resents for moving on without her and getting new friends and like replacing her. Maybe that could be an interesting idea potentially.
That does sound interesting, very, very much so. Yeah,
I wrote a story about that actually, only a short one. I did some fan art about it as well. Yeah, I'll link it to you after this, but it is something like that. Does sound similar to your idea about Sam, but a non-romantic version. I didn't sort of like write them as like lesbian lovers or anything. They were just friends.
Right.
I don't know. I'm assuming like with Taylor, right, a lot of people tend to ship her with either Pablo or Anderson. It's never actually said in the show or anything. We're assuming she's straight, but she might not be. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, there's an episode of season 9 where Taylor appears, but without the other two. So maybe after Tough Guys, Anderson and Pablo stuck to being reformed, and Taylor decided, no, I'm still a bully. Yeah, because there is. I don't know how much you've seen of season 9, but there is an episode where she briefly appears in a couple of scenes and like picks on Lincoln's group. And she's on her own, strangely enough. She's not with the other two. So,
okay.
Who knows? Because did you see Tough Guys from season 7?
I did not.
Well, it's basically Zach Girdle ends up in detention. The detention kids are the three from No Bus No Fuss, that trio. And he ends up sort of like becoming friends with them. And in the end, they sort of end up reforming at the end of that episode. But then again, remember that Chandler also reformed at the end of Cheers for Fears. Yeah, that lasted, didn't it?
Not that long.
Oh no, not at all. So yeah, Loud House does have some flimsy continuity, to be honest. I would like them to strengthen that. But anyway, yeah, we've gone an hour now, so should we just sort of call it to sort of end it there?
Yeah, sure. And quick shameless plug: check out Knockout Rocker on Wattpad.
Yeah, check out Knockout Rocker. Also check out Loud House Multiverse War, which includes a couple of characters from the Knockout Rocker. And also check out the entire B Canon timeline, because you should. So, yeah. Thank you all for listening. What do you think about Luna Loud? Do you think ideas of her being like maybe an artist or a boxer would be good ideas? Because let's face it, they could do something else with Luna. Or maybe they could do it in a reboot. I don't know. I still want to reboot the show, but we'll see. But let us know your thoughts on what they could potentially do with Luna's character in the future. And yeah, just let us know your thoughts on Luna in general below in the comment section. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.